Hello, my name is Chris Campbell, and I am the exercise specialist at Area 10 Agency's Indirect Center with two locations in Ellettsville and at the College Mall. I've been here for about 7 years, do a lot of the exercise programming um, and helping people learn how to use the equipment. What I'm going to talk about today is, we're all stuck at home. We're close to home anyway, due to COVID. And I know it's a challenge, especially as the weather gets warm or colder here, to get your aerobic work in. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some ways to make sure, that as far as exercise is concerned, there's three components that are important. There's the strength training component, which I have done a video on strength training. There's the stretching and flexibility component, which we actually have in the works. And the other component would be the aerobic work, or the also cardiorespiratory or cardio endurance work. And I also have another class that talks about that, another lecture video. So, the one thing is to get the cardio work in, but when you have an extra challenge like this with COVID, thought we might just try to give you some ideas and some suggestions. So when it comes to cardio work, aerobic work, ideally you'd like to try to get in 30 minutes most days of the week. So maybe 5 days of the week. Every day would be great. You don't want to overwork, yourself and wear yourself out. You don't want to overwork joints. You want to be careful. You always want to do the hard, easy principle. Hard one day, a little bit lighter the next day. But 30 minutes every day. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes altogether. It might be 5 or 10 minutes at a time, and add it up. But you really want to build up to where you're trying to get that 30 minutes in. And so the more that you can do all in one effort, the better. But you do want to build up. And so again, that is part of another video that is available to you. But some of the options that you have. So if you're at home and you're stuck with COVID, and I know that some of the Ys and some of the gymnasiums may be open, you may not feel comfortable going to those yet. So some of the things that you can do. One of the obvious ones is to purchase exercise equipment of some sort. And I actually do have a video on that as well, on how to help you with the decisions as far as purchasing home exercise equipment. So you can look that up. But so one of the, one of the better options, I guess one of the better options if you have the money and the space to use, to have machines at home, but, you're talking treadmills, exercise bikes, whether the regular seated bikes or the recumbent bikes, new steps, which are very popular, like a seated stepping machine, stepper machines, ellipticals, rowers, all types of different machines these days, and a lot of different options. So like I said, another video on that, but so that would be, one of your choices. If you have the space, if you have the money to get that. Now, if you don't have the space, you don't want to put the money into it, another option you would have would be a mini trampoline. Now, mini trampoline may only cost you, $10, $20. Doesn't take up a lot of space, parks along the wall nicely, or under the bed even. But the one thing about a mini trampoline you want to keep in mind is that if you haven't been on one before and you're not used to that type of motion, you want to be really careful the first several times that you use it, till you get more comfortable with it. Make sure you have something to keep you stable. If it doesn't have a stabilizing arm on it, maybe park yourself next to a rail of some sort. So just being very careful and not going too long on it the first time or two, because you may have muscles there that you don't use very often, and you'll find that they're going to be really sore. So, but a mini trampoline would be a good way to go. And again, you're just building up, 5-6 minutes 7 or 8 minutes, just trying to get that 30 minutes in a day. So another option, and you can buy those mini trampolines a lot of places. So whether you want to buy one used, look on Marketplace, all the Marketplace availability, or even places like Restore or Goodwill, and then obviously you could get on Amazon and look for them as well. So another option. Third option would be no machines, no gadgets, I guess you'd say. So, excuse me. So what you would do there is you're looking at marching in place or walking in place, or dancing in place. Or the other part of that would be, obviously marching or dancing or walking up and down the hallway, or around, if you have a loop in your house, making loops. Now, if you're going to make loops, what I would recommend is make loops like 2 loops one direction and then go 2 loops the other direction and 2 loops back, so that you don't find yourself with that one leg is always the inner hip and the other leg is always the outer hip. Just because unless you have a really big house with a really big loop, you're probably going to be making some tight circles around that loop. If you're making an out and back on a hallway, I would recommend that every time you get to the end and you turn around, you turn to the right. The next time you turn to the left. And for the same reasons, you turn to the right, you turn to the left. So again, making sure that you're being safe as far as your hips are concerned. Another thing to keep in mind as far as that type of thing at home, even though it may be very, you may be very tempted to do that barefoot or with your socks on, I would recommend going ahead and wearing your good walking shoes, your good dancing shoes, something that has some good support, especially if you're going to go more than 5 or 10 minutes and you're not used to walking around. If you walk around and you're barefoot all the time at your house, you're probably going to be fine for those distances. But if you start building up to where you're up to 30 minutes, you might find that you're having some problems. So again, making sure you've got good shoes on, good support. Make sure you're not going in a place where it could be slippery, of course. Keep in mind as far as going in and out of a garage or a kitchen that might be slippery. But is there an advantage to staying in one place or moving around? Aerobically speaking, not really. If you're moving enough to get your heart rate up, it is not going to matter much if you're standing still or moving all around the house. So if you have a preference, you might even like to do it while you're watching your evening news or the morning news, and you can just sit there and you can just march in place, and not have to really go anyplace. So really your body is not going to, your heart and lungs at least are not going to make any difference to them. So so that's a really good option. And some other things about that option is you can do the arm motions all you want. And if you're walking down the hall or marching in your living room, you can do arms up, arms out, arms different directions. Do a lot of different things with that. Now, one thing I wouldn't recommend really is sometimes people want to use hand weights when they walk. And this is the same whether you're walking outside or whether you're walking in your house. Be really careful with using hand weights when you walk. If you want to gain strength, you can watch my strength training video, and you can do all kinds of dumbbells and things, weight training, so that you can build your strength. And when you're doing your cardio, it would be best to just focus on your cardio. Now, if you're trying to lose weight and you feel like you need to carry around a little extra weight, or whatever the reason is that you feel like you need to carry a little extra weight in the dumbbells, I would highly recommend that you are very careful with your steps and always making sure that you're moving your arm and legs together comfortably, that you don't go very long, and you build up slowly with that. And but mainly, like I said, if you can talk yourself out of it, you might be better off just doing your cardio and just doing your strength separate from the cardio, and the reason for that is just because you don't want to throw your your body out of line and have extra pressure on the hips, extra pressure on the knees, the spine, the shoulders, elbows as you're walking. You want to be able to maintain your regular walking or marching posture. So, and if you're dancing, the same thing. I wouldn't put extra weight on your joints to be doing your dancing if you're doing some low impact dancing. So another thing about doing the walking in the house is would you be an advantage to take the steps or to avoid the steps? And how you answer that question has a lot to do with your steps themselves. For one thing, how safe they are. If they're steps to the basement and they're just like really, really steep steps, it's not much, and they're going to be a danger to go up and down, I would recommend obviously leaving those steps out. If there are steps that can be somewhat slippery at times, leave them out. If you feel like you have a fairly safe staircase and you want to add it into your routine of walking, shouldn't be a problem as long as you're being careful with your knees. So going up the stairs probably won't be much of a problem. Going down the stairs, you put a little extra. When you drop that one leg down, the knee that's holding your weight as you step down has got a little extra pressure, extra weight in a kind of in a bad anatomical position here. So that's something you wouldn't want to do a lot of. You wouldn't want to do a whole lot of up and down the steps, up and down the steps. If you'd like to do a couple times, it shouldn't be any danger really when you're coming down the steps. If you have a way to hang on or put a little bit of that weight onto a rail and to take that pressure off that knee, that would be best. Definitely not carrying anything up and down the steps for safety reasons. And so that would be the only thing about the steps is being safe, being careful with the knees. And, another way that you could do that even is getting yourself a bench to step up on and having where you step up and back down off the bench just to build a little bit of strength. And you could even do that with an aerobic workout if you have one of the old step or a new or an old step bench. They come about this tall or so, and they've got nice grip on them, and you step up on them, back down off of them. Something like that would be great. Put that in your living room, and you're stepping up, stepping down, stepping up, stepping down, and you do that for 5 minutes, and that's going to be part of your workout. And again, your knee is not going to be in such a fragile position, but just paying attention and making sure you don't feel like it's aggravating your knee. Anytime you do something new, it'd be best that you just do a little bit of it the first couple times and see how your joints react to that. So as far as in the house, those are your options so far. You do have one other option, and that would be to like I said, machines. Let's go through those options one more time. So machines, treadmill, steppers, rowers, ellipticals, mini trampoline. You could kind of add as a machine. Then you got the walking, marching, dancing in the house. And then the next one that I would add in there would be some type of a video. So an aerobic type video. I've got a selection I've gone through to pick some for you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make those available. All you need to do is send me an email, and I will send you those links, and you can decide from those. They are geared toward people over the age of 50. They are low impact, which is something I would highly recommend with all of these types of activities, low impact. And you can, and I will be glad to send you those links, and that's something else you could try and see if that's an option for you. And so from the aspect of just being in the house, I see that is your options at this point. If we get to where, and we will, to where the weather is warm enough to start going outside, but say we're still pretty COVID restricted, you have a few more options. You obviously have the walking, biking outside options, being safe from ice and nasty cold and wind. But as weather starts getting nicer, getting outside, the sunshine is good for you. Being outside, that fresh air is good for you. Again, staying safe as far as distances and everything. But the walking, biking, great options. And again, like I said before, you're trying to get that 30 minutes in and you're starting out easy. You don't go out and go the first time 30 minutes if you haven't been doing 30 minutes. And even if you've been walking inside and you build up to 30 minutes, walking outside might be different. So if you transition from walking in the house and say you walk, 20, 25 minutes in the house and you go out to walk outside the first time, it may be a little different as far as the surface, as far as the weather, the wind. So you might just take it a little easy. Go ahead and just maybe walk, 10, 15 minutes and then just build up from there. So always, you'll find with me, I always want to err on the side of being too cautious versus the side of being not cautious enough. And next thing you know, you have something going on with your foot or your knee and you are out and you can't do anything at all. And that's just really going to put your health into a downward spiral and a lot less options of things that you can do to be healthy. So always err on being a little too cautious, extra cautious. So going outside, walking, biking, great options. And then another great option for outside, if you have access to it as we get into the summer months, some sort of a pool, whether that's a pool outside, your house, neighbor house, friend's house, local pool. Not sure how those are going to go this year. Whether you are feeling like you're comfortable enough now to go to indoor pools. Those are always great options for getting your aerobic activity in as far as swimming and as far as doing aqua aerobics, water aerobics. So another great option I'll just throw in there because I know most of you probably don't have a pool in your house. But just to keep that in mind, it's always a great option as far as dealing with arthritis and pain. And just taking that load off of your feet for that low impact, non-impact almost activity. So those would be my choices as far as options in the house, and then options as we start moving toward being outside more in the spring weather. So would feel if you feel like you have questions about any of the things that I've said, I'd be glad to talk to you about it. If you would like to give me a call, number is 812-876-3383, extension 542. And if you don't reach me, you could just leave me a message and I'll get back to you. You can also reach me by email at kcampbell@area10agency spelled out.org, and feel free to send me an email. And again, I would be glad to send you the links that I came up with for aerobic activities in the house, and also to just answer any questions that you may have or tell you more about some of the programs that we have here at the Enterprise Center as well. We do have some outdoor hiking going on right now on Thursdays, and we also do have some mall walking going on inside the mall, of course, at Eastland Mall on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12:30. So you do have some indoor and outdoor walking possibilities. And again, if you have questions as far as trying to do it at home, you have a problem, you have an injury that comes up, feel free to drop me a line or send me an email, and I'll be glad to talk to you about it. So good luck. Keep it up. Don't give up. We're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So we just got to hang on a little bit longer, stay healthy, stay as active as you can, and we'll all be able to see each other sometime very soon, right?